my wrist is a two-tone. Direct flight out to London. Then might slide out to Lisbon. Crossing borders, getting my stamps up. Travel light, everybody can come. Lay low, I don't want attention. Only show what you see. Never no cap in my rap. When I rap on the track, got me feeling like I'm in the league. Ease.
I'm in my element. Don't care about relevance. I'm doing me. I'm in my element. We the new delegate.
Tapping and see. I'm in my element. Back in my element. 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 I'm in my element. This is easy as a layup. I don't show if you don't pay up. Long nights had to stay up. Putting hours while you later. I can sit around and wait up. I'm gon' have to see you later. Giving tips like a waiter. Even tell them all you fade them. I'm in my element. Back in my element. I'm in my element. Back in my element. I'm in my element. Back in my element. I'm in my element. Back in my element.
I'm in my element. Don't care about relevance. I'm doing me. I'm in my element. We the new delegate.
Tapping and see.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. On this Tuesday, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. And as always, we want to make sure that we start our day off by taking massive action. And that action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, centering yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trust in your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So we will get down to it. If you can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat. I'm having some mic issues recently. Okay, sounds all right. Okay, cool deal. Appreciate it. All right. Let's get down to it. Some catching up to do. Boom. All right, so top of the day, German consumer morale unexpectedly falls. Fell to negative 22 heading into September 2024 from a revised 18.6, missing the market expectation of 18. Lowest reading since May, dragged by concerns about job security and the rise in corporate insolvency and a weak economy. All right. Then you have oil supplies. WTI crude futures eased to $77 a barrel on Tuesday in likely a technical correction, but held on to most of its recent gains driven by ongoing supply side concerns amid a near total production stoppage in Libya, along with escalating tensions between Israel and Hezbollah. There was a major attack by Israel over the weekend in Lebanon that caused some major concerns. On Monday, Libya's eastern-based government announced the closure of all oil fields due to political conflict, which halted production and exports. Major. This added to growing fears over geopolitical tensions in the Middle East after Israel and Hezbollah exchanged heavy fire over the weekend. Still ceasefire talks concerning the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas are continuing in Cairo this week. Additionally, firmer expectations that the U.S. Federal Reserve will cut rates in its upcoming September meeting provided further support to crude prices. However, concerns over weaker demand from key markets weighed on market sentiment, right? So we got, from a fundamental perspective, some things definitely pushing oil to the upside. Okay. Um, Definitely pushing oil to the upside. So we'll continue to watch those and see how things continue to develop in the Middle East, but it doesn't sound like things will be easing anytime soon. U.S. durable goods orders surged by 9.9% in the previous month, July, making up the downwardly revised 6.9% decline in the earlier period, in the most since May 2020, firmly above market expectation of a 5% expansion. The result changed the growing pessimism over manufacturing activity in the United States, suggesting that the current slowdown may be temporary. That just goes through the breakdown. So that is that. And then we have European stocks. Equities are broadly higher on Tuesday, recovering from yesterday's muted session as market continues to assess the latest economic data and gauge the possibility of response from key central banks. The Eurozone stocks 50 was 2% higher at over 4,900, and the pan-European stocks 600 added a sharper 0.3% to approach the 520 threshold, the highest in over 1 month, with support from key mining stocks and broader index, such as the LSE, reopened from a long weekend. Consumer confidence, we talked about that part. Underscoring the poor sentiment in the currency block's largest economy, following yesterday's poor IFO results. Still, financial stocks rebounded, with Standard, BNP, Primbus, Munich RE, and Alliance adding 1.3% and 5.5%. Auto producers also traded higher, led by Stellantis, BMW, and Mercedes. On the other hand, tech fell further, 0.5% down, as ASML for ASML ahead of the NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. All right, so we got some mixed data on the industry front and on the stock front, but trying to assess the certainty of the Fed rate cuts and potentially cuts around the world. But also there's a kind of talk in the background, just concerns, and Jerome Powell talked about this last week in the Jackson Hole Symposium regarding his concerns about the labor market. And the concerns about the labor market are very, very real and present. So that's something that is also on the minds of investors as they look at the data and monitor how things go. All right. Over to the calendar. Yesterday, right, those durable goods orders, German business climate there came in as expected. Last night, we had services PPI for the yen came in a little bit below expectation. BOJ core CPI came in below expectation, right? And so you've seen those yen pairs start to push in the opposite direction, taking back some gains there. And then today we have S&P Composite year on year at 9 o'clock. We have consumer confidence at 10 o'clock, Richmond Manufacturing Index at 10 o'clock as well. Tonight we have the CPI for the Australian dollar at 9:30, right? Give us some insight on where the Aussie stands. Early morning Wednesday, FOMC member Waller speaking, and we have crude oil inventories on Wednesday. FOMC member Bostic speaking tomorrow night. Then we have, dog is killing me this morning. German preliminary CPI on Thursday, and then preliminary GDP, unemployment claims, and GDP prices for the dollar on Thursday as well, pending home prices. Chairman Jordan speaks at noon on Thursday. Tokyo CPI, right, getting more data on the CPI front out of Japan on Thursday as well. Retail sales for Japan and retail sales for the Aussie. And then on Friday, we have CPI flash estimate for the euro, GDP for Canada, core PCE for the dollar, consumer sentiment for the dollar, and then manufacturing PMI for the yen, right? So somewhat of a slower week, but some data points that from a inflation perspective could give us a little bit of insight. And then the members come into the microphone to hear what they have to say. Most Fed members are in line with rate cuts being ready. So that we could continue to see some weakness in the dollar potentially, depending on how those conversations go. All right. Any questions from a fundamental perspective, or is there anything that you guys have seen that you want to bring to the table? No?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank everyone. Okay, so the data that's coming out of Europe, particularly the German data,
Mhm.
that is that what's pulling the euro down?
Part of it, yes. So Germany is the largest member of the ECB, in the Eurozone, the
Yeah,
largest country.
right.
So they do have a larger impact than others. So when you
Okay.
see German data come out, that can sway the euro.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Nope. All right, cool deal. Let's get to the charts. We'll walk through. I want to take a look at, well, to start with the dollar, I want to take a look at oil, see where it is on its track to the upside. I want to look at some yens. And then we'll look at some of those indices as well. Indices and ETFs. This is where we are on the DXY, right? We're on our way back down to 100, just shy of it, right? So pressing back down, you see major level of support here. We broke through previously, retested, came back to it, weren't able to break through, came back to it again. Okay. And we've been here 2 times before. So this is the 4th, 5th time in this area. And we'll see how things transpire from here, right? If this level is able to hold, you see we're trying to turn over. We got a stochastic in the buy zone, right? Do we get 2 days of bullish action to give us a level of support here and give us potentially a retracement? We'll see. We'll see. One of the other things too is to keep an eye on as things continue to develop in the Middle East. We could start to see some safe haven action. And the dollar potentially being used as a safe haven. So the dollar can be used as a safe haven, and then you have your Swiss and your yen. So that could potentially cause some upside movement in the dollar if we see some safe haven action. So that's something I am keeping my eyes on. Also, if employment concerns tick up even more, then we could also see dollar rallies from a safe haven perspective. So, because then you get your recession talks that pick back up in the conversation. So, so we'll watch and see how those things develop and see how the dollar moves as we come into this weekly support level at 100. $100 even. Okay. So that's on the daily, coming down to the 4. We'll run that fib off the high again. All right, and that's where we are. 80-20 on the 4, stochastic in the sell zone. So we could see another push down and really test that support level there. Okay, so we'll watch and see how that develops throughout the day, and then throughout the week, see if we start to get this retracement back to the upside. Okay, so that's the DXY. Oil. We talked about price coming back down to the 70 was 71, 71.61. Right, we got a stochastic in the buy zone. We got that swing low to form 1, 2. Right, 3 bullish candles to the right side. We're running long, which is in line. Right, gave us a double bottom there. We look on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. We'll see this also gave us almost a double bottom at that support level. So we're pushing to the upside. Okay. We could be long for a little bit, right? So we'll watch this and see. So on this, on the lower time frame, I'm looking for pullbacks and continuations to the upside here. Okay, we did end up taking out that A on that sub fib, which we'll see on the 4, right? But price came down, tested the level, 80-20 on the 4, just with that 118 level, and you see the turnover. Right. And yesterday we got strong bullish action to break the cloud. Right. Stochastic in the buy zone, still on the daily time frame. We're getting a cloud break on the 4. Right. We got some consolidation, looking for a retracement to come. We got Kumo twist. Right. Bullish cloud ahead. We got our TK crossover. We got our lagging span that has broken through price. Right. So on the 4 hour time frame, we got all of our confirmations of the cloud for potential continuation to the upside. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. Trading oil, how you manage your trade, right? We got a nice cloud break here. Okay. So I'm looking for stochastic pull back down into that buy zone, come back, retest the cloud, maybe push a little deeper, and then look for continuation to the upside. So we're going to run a fib off the low there and then track the fibs long here. Okay. Don't have that new fib to pop in yet, but it would look like this. That's our new AB boundary. Okay. So in this retracement, we'll look for price to come back down into our sweet spot. Look for price to come back down into our sweet spot, right? Retest the cloud, which makes sense. Potentially retest previous resistance zones. And then we'll look for continuations long. Okay, so that's on the 4. Coming down to the 1. I'll pull that manual one out. And there's the fib on the 1. Right, and you see that 80-20 on the 4. You see the cloud break here, and then the runoff. All right, so now we're just looking for a pullback and continuation. So we'll see how deep that pullback comes. Okay, but we're long on oil. Right, fundamentally, we see things, how things are moving. Fed rate cuts could lead to potentially more demand, potentially, right? But you also got supply cuts out of Libya, right? And things picking up with Israel and Hamas, right? So all things leaning toward potential tightness in oil availability or supply, right? Higher prices with everything that's happening, right? And we could see more cuts come, more stoppages come if things continue to expand in the Middle East. Okay. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, doing good, doing good. Busy morning. First day of school for the kids.
Oh, today's the first day. Man, yeah, definitely
Yeah,
back to the routine.
yeah, man. First day of school. You started back yesterday, right?
Yeah, Logan started yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. So no, just getting the kiddos up this morning, getting it rocking and rolling, man. As far on the fundamental front, man, just paying attention to what's going on in the Middle East, right? Whole bunch of mess going
yeah,
on, and then just waiting to see whether you're gonna get this 25 or 50 basis points in September. But listening to a lot of these other FOMC members, they're definitely supporting the cut. So we know one's coming. It's just how deep that cut is going to be. Some people are
yep.
talking 100 basis points by the end of the year, right? So,
I didn't see that number. Okay,
yep. Yeah,
so
that's what some people are estimating, a possibility of 100 basis points. So, by December. So we'll see.
that'll be interesting. What's this? So
Yeah, indeed.
four cuts of 25.
I'm thinking September they're going to go 25 and then see how the market reacts.
Yeah,
You know, because I think we like when we look at jobs, like so, it's interesting to see like do we go from a tightening in regards to hiring, like you're seeing slowdowns in hiring, and then does that eventually move to job cuts? You
well, you're
know,
already seeing some of those job
so
cuts
I
come
think
in.
it'll all be correct, to see if that deepens. So I'm interested to see if how the market reacts after this first round of cuts. I think this next jobs report will go a long way in determining whether it's going to be 25 or 50 basis points.
Yeah,
Especially since the whole people were going pretty hard on the revision. Well, I think it was from March. I have to go back again, like earlier in the year, where they misestimated the jobs on the report by over 800,000, something like that.
you had mentioned that
So
yesterday.
I think all eyes are going to be on that report. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So the number they revised it down. They revised it down by like 818,000 jobs in one of the earlier jobs reports. You know, so I mean, they said it's happened in the past. I don't know if it's been that drastic, but they said it's happened in the past, like in '09 or something like that. But and some other times in the past. But yeah, that was quite interesting. Like I told you last night, a guy was complaining about it. He was trying to get political about it, but I just asked him like, "Did you make money? Did you make money or what, man? Like, of
Right.
course you made money. The market's been going straight up. So, and it didn't seem to have too big of an when the number came out and was reported, the revision didn't seem like it had too much impact on the market at all. So people just keeping it moving. So
Oh, you know what?
we'll
I do remember this
we'll see.
revision.
Like I say,
Okay.
the next, yeah, yeah. So that was a pretty big one. But but people, you know, it is. I think that this next jobs report is going to be the big one for September.
Yeah.
You know, reporting August numbers, especially coming off that last one. And like I said, that's going to play a big role in, I think, them making the determination whether they're going to go 25 or 50.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
No, that makes
so
sense.
that
That makes sense. Um, it'll be interesting to see what that number is for sure. Like I said, you're seeing some of those layoffs come. Stellantis is having some major issues. There's some
they
talk in the
are.
background regarding if they're even going to be able to continue their U.S. business. Um,
He keeps outsourcing. See, they get on TV and they talk a good game, but then they keep selling out the American worker.
yeah.
They keep selling them out. He keeps outsourcing. Meanwhile, he approved himself for another $40 million raise.
Of course.
So it's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable how these folks operate, but we keep allowing it to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I seen that GM laid off, what was it, 1,000 tech workers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, that job number is going to be big because it's going to be how it's going to come down to the sentiment and how companies feel. Because the number comes in way off again. You started that. What happened? What caused that reaction the last time was people started to have concerns about the economy, and they still have concerns about the growth. The overall growth and projecting that forward. So it's going to be a big number come September, that first Friday in September. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll continue to follow, man, and see what happens. Um, anything else catch your eye this morning?
No, that's it. That's it so far, man. That's it. That's all I've been looking at to get towards the end of the month. So
Yeah.
that number is not too far away. So. Oh, and then we got a video on Wednesday.
Yep. Got NVIDIA on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge for the market. Stock market. You're in the S&P, things like that. Um, that's gonna be a big one. So you can see it. You can see a rally coming off that number tomorrow, right? Because that's gonna be closing business when they report that number.
Yeah.
That's gonna be, that can cause a rally in the market. People are expecting them to come in pretty good on their forecast. So we'll see. See, so if you're trading some of those ETFs, trading, the indices, the S&P, like that's very important. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of NVIDIA, we'll take a look at the chart, right? Been moving to the upside. We had some consolidation past few days as we await the earnings report, right? So we come down to the 4, and this is where we are on the 4 hour, right? Well, let me go back to the daily. Daily, right? We're headed long. Where my other? There we go. Daily, we're headed long, right? Off of our 618 retracement here, headed to the upside. All right. So we broke through previous resistance. Haven't retested it fully yet, but stochastic pushing out of that sell zone in that consolidation. So we're headed long, potential pullbacks and continuations. We'll see what the data comes out as tomorrow, but expected potentially for price to continue rising to the upside. Right here on the 4, you got stochastic in the buy zone, right? So we'll see how things move today, but we could see a retest of this daily level at 120. And then tomorrow, see the takeoff to the upside. Okay. So looking for price to continue moving long. From a fundamental perspective, NVIDIA's in a good spot. Good earnings so far. And looking for that really to continue from all aspects. Yeah. So there we are. And then on the 1, we do have an 80-20 here, but so we just broke this daily level. Not sure if we're going to be able to break back below that. Right. So we'll watch this previous daily resistance level, see if it holds that support. This 80-20 could likely be one that fails as we continue the bullish run on NVIDIA. Okay. So watching that there and see if we do come back and retest that level before heading to the upside. Okay. Questions on NVIDIA? No?
Nope.
All right. Joy, what do you mean by this?
They out of nowhere just started doing background checks for people that's been there. And my question was it for the companies that they acquired? So for me, that's a move when they about to start looking to try to lay off people, because if you don't report tickets and stuff like that, it's not compliant.
Oh, wow.
Because other than that, why wait 5 years later after hiring somebody or merging and do background checks?
Interesting. That's the new one. I haven't heard of somebody going back and doing background checks. Keep me posted on that. That's interesting. I'm curious to see how that plays out.
I wouldn't even lie. They just give me my package. I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's a lot of back and forth, especially when they go through those mergers and acquisitions. It makes it interesting for sure. It definitely does. So we'll, you're always in the thought, so we'll continue to keep us updated on where things are. Um, that's NVIDIA. While we're on this side, we'll take a look at S&P 500. Continue to press long, right? We had an 80-20 here, the extension achieved. We had a decent retracement, and then we just took off back to the upside. Okay. Could likely top this 5,700 level, right? Been pushing long, could get a retracement, but ultimately looking at price likely continuing to the upside. Okay. But we could be in for retracement ahead of that, right? We got stochastic in the sell zone. Price is stalling here. Don't have a swing high yet. We need 2 days to close bearish. So we'll watch and see how things move from a daily time frame perspective. As we come down to the 4. Whoops. I want to run this. Okay. So I'll be coming off this low here. Boom. There we go. So there's the 80-20 on the 4, stochastic and the buy zone on the 4 hour. So we'll watch and see how this one moves, right? Could get a retracement back to the previous daily level. But ultimately looking for, let's continue moving to the upside, especially with the rate cuts ahead of us. Okay. So we'll, like I said, potentially get a retracement just from a technical perspective, coming back, retesting these daily support levels, but also looking for price to continue to the upside, breaking that 57,000 level and making new highs at some point. All right. So we'll watch this and see how it moves. If we do get that retracement, it'll set us up for a crown pattern like that. All right. So we'll watch that and see how price moves and how things develop here. But with this 80-20, we could be in for a retracement and then a continuation. Okay. Oops. And then on the 1, similar look. Okay. They're matching the extension at that 57,000 level. 5,700, sorry. So 80-20 there. We'll see if we get the retracement right. We got stochastic in the sell zone across the board, so that could be an indicator of that retracement coming. Okay, so we'll watch for that. If you're playing S&P 500. Which, if we get a retracement here, that could also lend toward that dollar rally or retracement on the DXY. So could see that type of action occur. So we'll watch that and see how that goes. Questions on the S&P 500?
Nope.
Oh, cool deal. Want to look at what we're looking at yesterday, Benny, VTI. Vanguard ETFs.
Yes.
Boom. Right. Vanguard ETF on the NASDAQ. Come back to the daily here. Right. Similar action to the rest, right? Strong pushes to the upside. Okay. We do have a stochastic in the sell zone, but overall we've been long. Okay, overall we've been long. We got our daily resistance here. We got that's a level of support right there. And then support here. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's the rest of my chart. So from a daily time frame perspective, we come back, run our fib off the lows. Boom. There we are. 618 retracement headed to the matching D extension. Just shy of a 618 retracement there, right? So pullbacks and continuations to the upside is ultimately what I'm looking for. Okay. Ultimately what I'm looking for here. So as we come down to the 4, one second. All right. As we go down to the 4, there we go. Right. Similar idea. 786 retracement here, pushing long. Okay. Pushing long. So as we get down to the 1 hour, I'm running my fib off of this low here. Boom. Okay. Yes, we have an 80-20 here, but do we break back below this 273 level? All right. That'll be the level to watch. Break back below that, then we'll look for deep retracement and continuation long. Okay, so we'll watch and see how things develop on VTI, but ultimately looking at this ETF to continue running to the upside over the long term. So as we're looking at these ETFs and seeing how they're moving, they're all moving similarly, right? So as we're looking to build those build those profiles, right? This is another one to keep our eyes on. And as price continues to move along, right, getting in line with that and moving along with it. So that's VTI ETF, Vanguard ETF of the NASDAQ. Questions here? Nope. All right, cool deal. All right, that's the one that I wanted to look at there. I want to take a look at some of these yens. So dollar yen is continuing to move to the downside, right? Just overall been pushing down with the yen strength. Benny posted that article last week about shifts in yen strength and where that could be coming from, right? But in the short term, right, we had some of the data come out last night with inflation being a little bit softer than expected. We could see this retracement come, okay, and potentially give us a high price. And if we get a dollar retracement as well, right, we could see dollar strength, potential short-term yen, yen retracements, right? We got stochastic in the buy zone here on the daily. So do we get today to close bullish and then tomorrow to close bullish to give us a support and potential pushback to 149, 150? Okay. That's what I'm looking for here on the dollar yen is a retracement back up. Okay. What does this look like? With these yens, I've been just kind of watching them in the background to see how they move. This one may not give us this full retracement back to 154. but I'm watching just to see how they track. Next month, the rate statement doesn't come till later on in the month. Along with the Fed rate statement is mid-month. It's like the 17th, 18th. And then for the yen, it's the day after. So it'll be interesting to see how price moves going into the beginning of September. Okay. So coming back down to the 4 now, we already got a 50% retracement here. But do we get another push back to that level? All right, coming back to this 149, 150 before we see a continuation to the downside in favor of the yen. So watching it here from multiple perspectives to see how things move. This one will be interesting from a safe haven perspective as things continue to escalate in the Middle East. Which way this moves. So this one will be kind of the one that could be the one that gives us the most trouble when it comes to the ends, just because both could play a safe haven role. So we could potentially even see some consolidation happen here. Okay, so we'll watch and see how things move. But there's your fib on the one, right? Just above that A boundary, we got a reversal. So we'll watch and see how things transpire. So that's the dollar yen. Any questions here? No.
Nope.
Okay. I'll come back to this NZD CAD. NZD JPY, right? Push them to the upside as well. Trying to break out of this consolidation and head long. But we're retesting key levels that we broke through, right? Weekly level, daily level. We got stochastic in the sell zone here. So we got a little bit of divergence, price pushing long, stochastic pushing to the downside. So I'm looking to see where we break out to on this one. But similar to the DXY and some of the others that we'll look at, looking for continued moves to the upside, at least in the short term, giving us high prices to then get back short with the yen. So watching how it develops, how the narrative develops, how the data comes out from an inflationary perspective, because in the short term, it could put us in a position for price to continue to rise here. BOJ has already kind of said that they do plan on continue rate increases as long as the data continues to support it. It's just a matter of when, right? And the market, some of them are still indecisive, and looking at when. So we will see the yen strength. Is just a matter of when it comes. So we could see this retracement back to the upside after this long move down before we continue that move to the downside. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at with all of these. So here on the 4, we've been consolidating at the B boundary, and you see we're trying to push to the upside. All right, so when we come into this 91 level, it gives us an 80-20 on the 4. Okay. Gives us an 80-20 here on the 4. So we'll see how price responds at that $91 level. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at, is another push to the upside, and then we'll see if we stay there and retrace, or if we're able to break through that and continue to the upside. We also things aren't the strongest out of New Zealand either, right? So watching things from that perspective. Okay. To the 1. All right, and you got an 80-20 here on the 1 as well. In this scenario, we could get to the D extension before getting a retracement. So we'll watch and see. Okay, but we've got 80-20 on the 4 hour and 80-20 on the 1 hour. Right, so we'll watch to see if we get a turn before the continuation long, or if we just continue the slow track to the upside. Right. So continue watching this one. This one I don't have any plays on, right? Just watching it continue to slide. Looking for a high price on it. Okay. Questions on the NZD JPY? Oh.
Nope.
Pound yen. This is what I have my eyes on this one, right? There's pin bar action here. Do we get back to 197? Right? That's what I'd like to see that happen. Okay. So we'll see how the month closes. As we come down to the weekly, we got a weekly swing low that's formed here. Right? Strong rejection off the level, pushing to the upside. So are we able to get a continuation, at least in the short term, back to this 196, 197 range? Okay. Strong bullish action. We've already taken back that 50, 60, 70% of that bullish candle, right? And now do we get the continuation to the upside here from a weekly perspective? Coming down to the daily, right? You see the fresh AB boundary and the push, right? This was our previous fib, right? The capital fib did not pop in, but this is what it would have looked like. So that's a 786 retracement here, or 86 retracement here. That puts us at 213. Don't know if we get back that high, right? But looking at fib to the downside, it's 197 area puts us in the 618 retracement here on the daily. Okay, we do have a stochastic in the sell zone, but do we get it to turn over and push back to the upside in that continuation long, keeping us in that sell zone for a little bit? Okay. So looking for another push to the upside here before getting short. Down on the 4, right? Similar story. We've been retracing, we've been in this consolidative phase, pushing back to the top of the range now. Okay. There we go. So do we continue pushing long, right? Get to the matching D extension, deep retracement on the capital fib to the downside here. Right? So watching to see how all of these develop out of these consolidative ranges that they're in. Coming down to the 1, we've already got a 382, right? And that matching D extension is in that 197, 196, 197 range. Okay, so looking long here on this pound yen, this is one that I do have a long position on. From the swing low on the weekly, and as we zoom in on the daily, right, from this swing low here on that swing back to the upside, right? So looking to see if we get some continuation long here, at least in the short term. Okay. Questions on the pound yen? Nope. Okay. Euro yen, similar story. All right, you see the indecision here. Do we get another push up and then a breakdown? Swing low on the weekly. Boom. Okay. Coming back to the daily. There was our fresh AB boundary. We got a deep retracement. Okay. Stochastic on the daily is coming down into that buy zone. Okay. So we get this swing low to form here and get another push to the upside back to this one, what's that, 166, 167 range, right? Before we get another opportunity to get short. So then as we come down to the 4, we already got a 382. We got a 50% retracement here, trying to push back long. So do we get price to turn over and continue moving to the upside here, getting us back into this range? Matching the extension. Okay. And then on the 1, right? 50% retracement, matching the extension that 166, 167 range. So watching these for longer moves, right? We got a cloud break, don't have a Kumo twist yet, right? Lagging span has broken through price, but do we get this to form, give us that twist to give us an opportunity to get long, at least in the short term, leading into next month's rate statement? We'll see. Okay. So that's the euro yen, potentially getting back long in the short term. Questions? No? Okay. Swiss yen, similar story, right? See the indecision. Swing low on the weekly. Swing low on the daily. Swing higher low on the daily. Do we get another higher low on the daily and another push up? Okay. Next, let me see this. You already got a 618 retracement on the, that'll be interesting, right? That was the close of the B boundary. So we could see a deeper push here. Net D extension has already been achieved. So they were on the move back to the upside. 618 retracement, matching extension 173. All right. So do we get back into 173 to 175? Okay. That's what I'm looking for there on the Swiss yen. And then down on your 1. All right. We've been lingering in this buy zone here. We took out the A at that level there. I think I flipped that fib. So, all right, just been choppy, just moving sideways through the cloud. So no real fib action here yet. There we are on the cloud break. Kumo twist, lagging span. All right, do we see this continuation to the upside in the short term? Okay. So that's the Swiss yen. Questions here? Yeah, this one is interesting. This one is definitely interesting with both playing the safe haven role, and you see just the bounce back and forth here. That one's been tough. That one's definitely been tough. And we'll wrap it up on the CAD yen. All right, but a similar story. Indecision. Do we come back to 112? Swing low on the weekly. Right? Do we make this retracement? So looking at this sub fib off the high, right? That puts us right at a 618 retracement. Daily, right? Boom. 786 retracement. Stochastic just shy of that buy zone, turning back over. So do we get this push back to the upside here? Okay. Double bottom at this daily support. Cloud on the daily. Boom. So that retracement to get us back to retesting the cloud here. Okay. The 4. Just lingering at the cloud on the 4, right? But that push back up to 112 will take out that A if we get there. 50% retracement, double bottom, push.
So when I see that TK cross, a lot of times when I see the reversal, I don't know why, it looked like a fish. So I pay attention to how the head forms. Like, go back to the daily. You see how that TK cross, it crossed and now it's about to close up.
Uh-huh.
I've been looking to see where, like, if it formed like a little fish, because it looked like a little fish head, whether or not if price closed above it or not, and in comparison to see whether or not if I'm gonna take a buy or not.
I got you. I got you. Yep, yep. And as it gets tighter, you see you had areas of consolidation in those at those points, right?
Yep. Yep.
Tight there, consolidation, tight there, consolidation. So that's that consolidation there. So basically, what's your breakout point? All right. So I'm with you on that look. I'm with you on that look. All right. What direction do we break out? All right. As we've consolidated here. What direction do we move next? Oops. Can't grab it. But what direction do we move next? Yep, I follow you. I follow you. Okay. So then we get down to the 1. We got our deep retracement, and you see prices already started to push. Cloud break. We get a pullback, and then we can get a continuation to the upside. Okay. And then potentially higher. 112 is here. We'll see. We'll see. Questions on the CAD yen? Oh, okay. Questions on anything we covered this morning? I didn't come back to the NZD CAD. Quick look at the NZD CAD. I was supposed to come back to that one because we're hovering in this 118, 127. Nope, we hit the D extension there. I thought that was an 80-20, but we hit the D extension. There we go. And there's an 80-20 on the daily. All right. I'll take this out. Stochastic is in the buy zone here, pushing to the upside. So we got a swing low to form there, pushing long. But do we come back to double top here? In that 118, 127 zone. Pushing long right now, though. Okay, so we'll watch and see 84, 238. If we push higher, or if that's the top of our range.
It looks
we
like
get
a
range down a bit.
head and shoulder.
To my here. Maybe. Maybe. Yep. Yeah. So we'll see how high that goes. If it gets back to the top, then it could invalidate it. All right. So we'll watch and see where that finishes out. But we could be in for a head shoulder pattern there for sure. For sure. Now we'll watch and see how it develops. Okay. But what I'm watching this 80-20 here on the daily. Okay. It's a fresh B boundary. No, it was. That's what I thought. It is 80-20 on the 4 as well. I don't know why I'm tripping on this. But 118, 127 is on there on the 4 and that breakdown, right? So do we get back double top and then continue that move to the downside? And do we see strength from the Canadian dollar more due to oil than anything else? Okay. Then on the 1, that's what we're looking at there. So we'll watch and see how far price goes here. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. All right, good people. Donna, I didn't look at the dollar CAD. Do gotta wrap it up though.
Okay, I'll send it. I'll put it in the community.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate
Mhm.
that. Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Great session, man.
Appreciate it. All right, good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. You guys have a phenomenal day. Those kids that today's their first day, hope they have a great day. All right. We'll see you in the community accountability group, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. All right. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.